Welcome back. I'm Marla Holt. I am an author, mother, and entrepreneur who lives in Northeast Kansas, and I am officially joining AuthorTube today. This is my second video. I have done another video that is also an introduction video, but I didn't do the official AuthorTube Newbie Tag. So that is on our agenda today. So I'm pretty excited. I have my notebook full of the questions right here. There are 13 questions. Yes, I write in pink ink all the time. So it's exciting. So I might be referring to my notebook if you see me look down. Anyway, let's get started. I guess just the proper introduction to AuthorTube Newbie Tag. It was originally started by Jenna the Dark One back a couple years ago, and when AuthorTube first started emerging on YouTube, and it's kind of been just the way that people officially announce their joining of AuthorTube when they start their new YouTube channels. So here is my official foray into AuthorTubing. So first, how did you find out about AuthorTube? I actually found out about AuthorTube from Instagram. I followed some other authors on Instagram just through finding different tags like writers of IG or something like that, and I started following them and noticed that every now and then they'd post like an AuthorTube or Question number 2, what genres do you write in? I am a contemporary romance author. I write for adults. My husband swears that the few forays into fantasy I have done make me the best fantasy and or sci-fi writer, because he swears that a couple of my things border on sci-fi, but I don't know that he's ever read, and he wants me to really go in that direction, but it's just not something I'm passionate about. I try, I get a little bit in, and then I lose steam. So, but adult contemporary romance, that's where it's at for me. Question number 3. What is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? So obviously, which would be children's, then adult, obviously. So we're obviously talking adult. That's, at least there's that. I prefer writing for adults. I like to not be able to censor myself when it comes to language, when it comes to adult situations, when it comes to steaminess. I like to do what I feel the story needs, and I feel like I have the most freedom there with adults. Otherwise, I tend to write in third person limited, and I always write past tense. Question number 4. Are you a plotter, pantser, or plantser? I have historically been a pantser. For me, the hardest part of sitting down to write, especially after I finished my degree and was just so super burnt out, was just getting over the expectations of needing to sit down and write something spectacular to share with my class. And I sort of carried that with me through until after I was done with school. I didn't write The Other Lane until I had until 3 years after I finished my degree, and I hadn't really written anything in the meantime, and it was a really, really rough time for me just to get over these like strange hurdles I built for myself and get back into the chair and writing. And so for me, like, just sitting down and putting words and being able to put words on the page was the best thing that I could do. So it was the hardest thing for me. So I couldn't have a plan. I couldn't do anything. I just had to sit down and put words on the page and see where they got me. And that's what worked for me. And that's how I still do it. I do a little bit more plotting. So I would say I'm probably a pantser, mostly just because I don't formalize anything. I could have an entire story in my head and then never actually write down an outline. For me, outlines don't work. I might do some like chapter planning, like the first few chapters. I did that this past NaNoWriMo for Sparkle and Shine. But so I just consider myself a pantser. I don't put a lot of formality into what I do, and it's just what the story calls for. And for me, the most important part is getting to know my characters, and how I do that is on the page. So my first draft is basically my outline. Number 5, are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? Technically, at the moment, I am already published. I consider myself an indie author. I do not have an agent or a publishing house that I work with. So I am published. I have When Abe Met Lane out and available for consumption. It is available on download if you sign up for free. If you sign up for my email list, I also, best kept secret, I've been advertising this. You can also download it for free from Kobo, BarnesandNoble.com, or iBooks. So yes, I am published. My first novel, my first full-length novel, The Other Lane, comes out in just about 6 weeks. It's gonna be available wide. It's gonna be on all of those platforms I just mentioned, as well as in print, starting on July 10th, 2018. So I'm pretty excited. Question number 6: what publishing company, literary agent, and or printing company are you represented by or use? If you're not published, what's your dream house and or literary agent? Okay, so I am an indie author, so that means I publish myself, which means, and I am a wide author, so I don't just use Amazon. So I publish directly to Kobo and Barnes & Noble, Nook, and Amazon. And then I use Draft to Digital to get onto iBooks, because I am not a Mac user and will never be a Mac user. So I use Draft to Digital to publish to iBooks, as well as getting into a couple of their subscription services and Overdrive. For print books, I am currently working with Ingram Spark to get copies of When Abe Met Lane, because it'll be an easy book, but it'll be great. It'll be available in print as well, and The Other Lane printed. Here's a pro tip if you don't know this. I used to be a buyer for a historical society, and I stocked the gift shops at all of their historic sites. And I had restrictions on who I could and could not buy from when it came to books, and it was a historical society, so I did a lot of books. This was partially because it was a historical place, and so they wanted historical books to be vetted, because people came to them as an authority on history. So if an author came to me with a book that they had published themselves through like Create Space, I actually could not buy it to stock in my store. However, if they published it through Ingram, since Ingram is a reputable supplier and I already had an account with Ingram, I could get it past them if I really wanted it. I could get it past my censors if I really wanted it in my store. So that's a pro tip from somebody who used to buy books to stock in an actual bookstore. Go wide, publish through Ingram. If you want to be in bookstores, or if you ever want the possibility of being in a bookstore. Pro tip right here from a former buyer. Okay, so I'm taking a lot of time on this video. I love it. What AuthorTube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? Okay, so I am a romance author, so I would like to really talk about romance, and I really like to talk about how we view romance, especially from a feminist critique perspective. I feel like there are so many things we can celebrate about romance, and there are also some things that are super not healthy about romance that we just sort of consider as rote because maybe they've been successful in the past. And I really think that there are so many things that we can do better. And it's a genre that is almost exclusively written by women and written to women. And there are so many wonderful, beautiful things we can help do for each other in this genre. And I'm so excited to work within it and meet new people in it and talk about it. On top of that, we'll talk about writing tips. And one thing I'm really excited about is sharing sort of how I do what I do, because I am a mother of 3 boys, 2 of whom are under the age of 5. And I stay home with them during the day. I work a job at night. And I also get my writing done, and I do the stuff with the kiddos, and I'm working on this YouTube channel. So one of the things I want to talk about is like time management from a mother's perspective, and or just talk about getting writing done, just getting writing on the page, because for so long it was such a huge struggle for me just to get words on the page. So we'll be talking a little bit about that, and then I'll go over my writing and editing process and some self-publishing stuff as I am putting out books. So when did you start writing? I mean, everybody else I've watched has been like, oh, I've always written. And it's true. I have always written. I didn't really start writing fiction probably until I was about in 8th grade. I think I don't even remember what stories I started writing. I had a couple of original stories that I was writing. I think my first one was like about a band. And, I mean, it was very closely related to my life and based on the people that I knew. And what was the first story you ever wrote? I just answered that question. So yeah. It was that story about the band. What authors have inspired your writing the most? Okay, so this is the question that I am most excited to answer on this whole thing because I love reading. Reading is what got me into writing so what I have back here from top to bottom is The Elements of Style from E.B. White and Will Strump. I refer to that often, but I also love E.B. White. Like, I had a professor in college who referred to E.B. White as her literary boyfriend, and I totally agree. If you haven't read Essays of E.B. White, pick it up. It's beautiful. It's magical. I have Barbara Kingsolver's Prodigal Summer. I mean, I just want to be Barbara Kingsolver when I grow up. The other book I have is Villette by Charlotte Bronte. Villette is probably my favorite of Charlotte Bronte's books. It's the lesser known cousin to Jane Eyre. Villette is highly autobiographical. The other one is The Center of Everything by Laura Moriarty. Laura Moriarty is a gorgeous contemporary author. She has written like 4 or 5 books. Most of them all take place in Kansas. I have not read her newest one yet, which is like a riff off Huck Finn. It sounds gorgeous. I have it. I own it. I went to the signing. I have not read it yet. The Center for Everything is her first book. She's actually an author who lives and writes in Kansas. She lives just in the next town over. Since I also have all of my books also take place in Kansas, I feel a bit of an affinity for her. The other book I have over here that has been a huge influence, and I think every writer should read, is John Irving's A Widow for One Year. I love this book. It is one of his books where the protagonist is a writer, and I have like a special fondness for when writers write about writers. Follows her on this adventure that she takes. You watch her discover the plot of her next book. All right, next question, because this video is going to be freaking long. Do you type, or do you schedule a writing session, or simply go to writing whenever you find the time? I copied that one down really sloppy like, sorry. You have to schedule time. It just doesn't happen, especially for me. But I'm just saying, in general, if you don't schedule time to write, you will not make time to write. Do you type on a computer or typewriter, or write everything out by hand? I predominantly write on my laptop. And the final question, now that this video is 30 minutes long, which is ridiculous, I'm sorry. Apparently, I had a lot to say today. What are you most looking forward to now that you're a part of AuthorTube? So me sitting here by myself in my little office in Kansas, I'm the only working writer that I know. And I'd love to meet some more romance writers. So like, subscribe, comment, check the links below, check me out on Instagram, check me out on Facebook, and my website, marlaholt.com. Let me know what else you'd like to see, and I will see you guys on Tuesday.